He's gone. He could go all the way.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
We talking about practice.
You play to win the game.
Playoffs?
It's like taking poison, like rat poison.
It's Division I football. It's the Big 12. It ain't intramurals.
All right, Mike, I'll go ahead and kick things off. I'm Ryan. This is Dylan. Thank you so much for carving out some time for us and joining the podcast. We got a little passion project going. Dylan is passionate about sports and talking to everybody about sports and everything that's going on. I'll kind of open things up and then I'll kind of kick it over to Dylan if that works for you.
That'll be perfect. I'm ready.
He's ready. He's prepped. He's ready. Knuckles cracked. It's game time. Well, I'll kind of open up with, just a little bit about you and a little bit about your background. Just kind of introduce yourself and kick us off.
All right. Well, Mike Hardge of the Morning Kickoff on AM 1300 The Zone and always free on the Iheart radio app. I'm born and raised in Killeen, Texas. I was born on Fort Hood. No, I'm personally not a military brat, but my grandfather was in the military. And we made Killeen our home, and I grew up there, went to Ellison High School, went on to get drafted in the second round out of high school. I was coming to the University of Texas. I also had football offers from a bunch of different schools, but baseball was my passion, and I ended up getting drafted out of high school and played 13 years of professional baseball. Was going to get called up to the big leagues. We went on strike, ended up getting hurt. And then after I was done with everything, I decided to move to Austin, Texas. Been in Austin, Texas, got into radio probably 10 years ago and been rocking and rolling ever since then. I have a beautiful family, which I adore. I have two grandkids. I also have 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 daughter. My oldest son, his name is Michael. My middle son, his name is DJ Darius Hardge. And my daughter, her name is Jasmine Hardge. And I have a beautiful wife that was a professional athlete as well. She went to Texas Tech, and we make Pflugerville, Texas, our home.
Wonderful. What an excellent kickoff to the show. Appreciate the introduction. Dylan, I'll kick it over to you for your first question.
Okay, so we know you didn't end up playing football, but you did get a lot of offers, so that's cool too. But when you got the phone call that you were going to play professional baseball, what did it feel like, and who was the first person who you talked to?
That's a great question, first off. And, this is a pretty cool story, to be quite honest with you, Dylan. When I got drafted, I wasn't at home. I didn't know how early or how late I was going to get drafted. I knew I was getting drafted, just didn't know how early or how late. And back then, there were no cell phones. There wasn't any direct contact with you. So that morning I got up, I went to the barbershop to get my hair cut. I know it don't look like that right now because I did have hair back in the day, man. I had hair like you. But I was at the barbershop, and then I left the barbershop, and my girlfriend at the time was a lifeguard at a swimming pool. So I went to go spend time with her. Well, everybody was looking for me that day because they didn't know where I was. So what ended up happening is my high school baseball coach knew that my girlfriend worked at the swimming pool. So he found me at the swimming pool. We had to go back home. I had to answer the phone. And that is when the head scout, Greg Zazino, whose son ended up playing in the big leagues, for the Seattle Mariners, and he just got done playing not too recently. He was the one that was scouting me. He called me and he was like, "Hey man, we've been trying to get a hold of you all day. This is where you got drafted. You got drafted in the 2nd round. I think I was the 48th or 49th overall pick." And obviously, big excitement, a lot of fun. Well, the first person I called to answer your question was my mother because she was at work. And I ended up having to call her. She was a manager of a Church's Chicken, which I grew up on Church's Chicken. Um, and it was my favorite restaurant forever because my mother was the manager there for over 17 years. And I called her, and my original conversation was, "You don't have to work no more." And then she was like, "Wait a minute, you haven't signed anything yet. Let's wait and see if I still have to work." So my first call was to my mother to celebrate with her. She ended up having to still work, by the way. But but that was the special moment for me, was sharing that with her.
What did that feel like to share that news with your mom?
It was outstanding because she was a woman that has she pretty much raised me to be who I am today. She was a person that worked hard, was very polite, was always nice to people, and just a genuinely good-hearted person. She didn't care that I was a great athlete. She wanted me to be great in school. She didn't care that she knew I was going to be a guy that was going to get drafted. She didn't care about any of that. She wanted me to be a good person, and she wanted me to make sure that family and God came first. That's all she cared about. Everything else was going to take care of itself. But she wanted me to make sure that I was the person that she had raised and worked hard to make sure that I was doing things the right way.
What an amazing person and mother to have. That's
Absolutely.
incredible.
Absolutely. I thank her all the time for the life lessons that I learned from her, what she taught me. She's made me a better father. She's made me a better friend. And she's made me the person that I am today.
That's awesome. Kind of a funny draft story. I mean, it is a little annoying. You're like, "Oh, I got drafted. Nice, I got drafted."
For whatever reason, I just started, when he started talking about the swimming pool and baseball, it made me think of the Sandlot.
Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close.
Pretty
The
close.
original thought process. What's her name? Not Winnie.
Wendy Peppercorn.
Yeah, Wendy Peppercorn. Funny
Yeah.
story about that. A couple years ago, they were all here and they were all in town. And I got a chance to take my family to Deep Eddy's, the distillery out in Dripping Springs. I got a chance to go out there, and the Sandlot crew was out there, and I was doing a promotion for the radio station. So I got a chance to take pictures with them. I got a chance to meet them, and everybody was dressed like Wendy Peppercorn. It was awesome.
That's hilarious. So good.
Yeah.
I mean, I just recently watched that movie and it's awesome.
That's right. That's right.
Great. All right, moving on. What is one of the funniest or weirdest things ever on one of those long minor league bus rides?
Oh, it's pretty. There's so many because as you play throughout the minor leagues, regardless of what level you are on, there's always going to be some stories. When you get to AAA and the big leagues, you get to fly everywhere, so those are cool. But when you're in AA on down, unless you're going to another long journey, you are on those buses. And the one thing that always stood out to me was sleeping. Sleeping was so important and so vital. And when you're on those buses, you're dealing with guys that are 6'5", 6'6". You've got guys that are 5'5", 5'7". So everybody's trying to find their way to get sleep. Well, the funniest part is if you're a shorter guy, a lot of those guys were trying to get up into the racks above where you put your luggage, so to speak. Buses, you get to put them on the bottom. But if you're small enough, you get a chance to go up and go to sleep in those other spots. But the other part is, if you're so long, you don't want to double up with people. You want to make sure that you have your leg space. So most of the guys would sleep on the floor on the bus. Well, if you're in the middle towards the back, everybody's got to come towards you. So then everybody's stepping on the the rails to try to not step on you sleeping on the floor. So then you got people trying to trip each other. You got people messing with each other. You got people trying to mess with you while you're sleeping. So the bus rides were always the best. They weren't always good, but they were always the best because that's when you truly get to see how people maneuver in those close quarters.
Bodies everywhere, pure chaos. It sounds like one of your sleepovers with a bunch of your friends over.
We'd all be in the living room, and there's like 4 of us on the couch, and then there's like 3 of us on the air mattress. One of us is sleeping in a crack in between the couch and the air mattress.
Yes, it sounds just like that. No air mattresses for us, though. We didn't have those. There wasn't enough room for those.
Well, it sounds like you're already getting your training wheels for if you make it to the minor leagues.
Yes,
you got some experience.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Sleeping on the floor.
We're
like, we need sleep. Get on the floor.
Exactly. Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. When you got to the pros and you hit your first slump, how did you keep your confidence from
sliding?
Yep. Well, here's the biggest thing for me. It's all about your support group. It's all about your friends. It's all about the teammates that have been through some things in their life. Because you remember when I got drafted, I was an 18-year-old kid. And there was a lot of guys that had already been playing professional baseball that have gone through some different things in their life. I had at that time, when let's put it like this. When you get drafted, you obviously are one of the best at your craft at that time. You don't go through a lot of slumps, right? So when you have your first slump, it humbles you. And not only does it humble you, it tests your character on how you're going to get through certain things. And that's why leadership is so important. If you have guys that have been experienced and gone through some things, they can kind of work with you. They can take you out and talk to you about, hey, how's your approach? What are you looking at? How are you going about this? Then you can also get some extra work. You can work through some things. You get videoed. You can try to figure some things out. So I would always say, if you have a great support system, that is the best thing that can help you get through those things. The extra work is great. The time at the park early, outstanding. But it's the friends and family members that have seen you throughout your career that let you know, hey, you still got this. There's no reason why you wouldn't be here if you didn't still have this. So I would say friends and family will always get you through those slumps.
Now, a lot of times the gap from going from the minor leagues to the pros is between your ears because there's a lot of guys with a lot of talent that don't have. How did you develop your mental game that allowed you, or I guess, how did your mental game catch up with the physical aspects that you had to get drafted so high?
To be honest with you, it took a little while because I was so used to using my athletic ability. I didn't use the mental aspect of it as much as I probably should have. I was fortunate enough when I got drafted with the Montreal Expos, and I say I was fortunate enough because as I look back on it, they were doing things the right way at the time. That was the first time I'd ever dealt with a psychologist because that was part of their organization. Most of the time it was visualization. It was also trying to help you deal, because as an 18-year-old kid, you're leaving and you're going to away from your family for the first time. Yes, a lot of people go to college, a lot of people go to different things. Well, now you're a professional athlete, you're getting paid professional money, and you're dealing with failure for the first time because everybody that you're playing against is just as good or better than you. So you didn't get to have that upper hand. But during that time, I was fortunate enough to meet with a guy named Gary Kreitz. And it's so crazy that I remember his name so well because he was the mental coach of the Montreal Expos when my professional career got started. So when you start to talk to people about how you're feeling, your mental approach, what's going on, why is this happening? How can I get out of this thing? It was really, really important to me. And now I deal with the Texas Longhorn baseball team a lot. Well, Texas athletics, period. But the baseball coach for them is Jim Schlossnagle. And he talks about Texas spends so much money on the mental aspect of it all that he's ahead of his time, because that is something that I was dealing with back in 1991, 92, 93, that a lot of teams weren't dealing with or didn't understand how to deal with it. And for Texas baseball to be able to deal with that already, it goes back to those times that I was like, wow, this is way ahead of its time to be able to deal with a mental coach.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard of them. Did sports teams usually have like a mental coach?
Now there's a lot of
like,
them because of the psychology of it all. The mental health is really huge right now. And so dealing with that has kind of created the need for those types of people.
Yeah. And did somebody sell the Montreal Expos?
Well, they got bought by the Washington Nationals. They became the Washington Nationals. So when they won the World Series, everybody was excited in the city of Montreal, but not really, because they wanted to be the team to win the World Series as the Montreal Expos.
Oh, and the Nationals won?
The Nationals won it all. Yep. With Bryce Harper.
Where are the Nationals in?
Washington. The city of Washington.
Yeah.
The state of Maryland.
Nice. Okay. Nice. Sounds like some good advice. I mean, my dad talks to me a lot about mental game, which I think is a great approach, listening to him and understanding it. I mean, he recently did get me started on a sports psychologist to already help with my mental game. I think that's some really valid information.
Yeah, let me just tell you this, because you hear it all the time, and I'm sure your father has talked to you about it, and some of your psychologist has probably talked to you about it. Everybody always says 90% of the game is mental, because that goes into preparation. That goes into understanding your opponent, understanding you as a player, because one thing that we all deal with, and you'll really understand it as you get older, is testosterone. We think we're invincible. We think that we know everything. We know that I can do this or I can do that. But there's a mental approach that needs to happen for you to achieve those things and for you to understand those things. So you being ahead of the game right now is like what I felt in 1990. I didn't feel it when I was in high school. I didn't feel it when I was in middle school. I didn't feel it when I was in elementary school. I felt it as I got older. So now you are in a position, and I've talked to my kids about that as well, of understanding the mental aspect of preparation. You have to be prepared at all times.
Yeah. And Dylan's got what have you been meditating? Probably for like a year? Maybe like 10 minutes a day. So he's got a good kind of balance there. The thing we've been working on is he's got a heck of a competitive spirit, and just saying, hey, that, if you let that emotion and competitiveness get the best of you, you can't channel it in a productive way.
Right.
Kind of getting out over your skis. So some of that balance is, man, the competitiveness is awesome, but make sure that it's working for you and not against you.
Exactly. Because people are going to always try to bring that negative competitive spirit out of you, get you fired up, get under your skin. But you being mentally prepared and mentally strong, you understand what you're up against. And that's why sometimes it's easy to take a step back and do a little woo-saw before you overreact to a situation.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's easier
All right.
said than done too, buddy.
Well, we say that all the time. I mean, I'm trying to coach him along, and I'm saying, but I mean, it's hard for me, man. I'm practicing every day, but it's just hard,
right?
Which is why you have to invest in it, because it is hard, and if you're not paying attention to it, you just get blindsided by it, and you don't know what it is, and you can't identify it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to keep on?
Yeah. All right. So how did you decide you want the person talking about?
I was just, how do you decide you wanted to be the person talking about games instead of playing games?
Well,
Okay.
what ended up happening is when you step away from it, I felt like I had a good view on things. I went from being the star player to a guy that, hey, what's going to happen next, to a guy that was close to becoming a coach that ended up coaching. So during those moments, I became from the young guy to the OG quickly. And so I was giving out advice along the way. So as I started talking about the game and trying to explain it to other people, people were like, hey, you've lived a great career. Why not start talking and bringing the analyst part of it all? And once I got involved in that, it brought me back to the game, because after I retired, I really wanted to stay away from it. We live in a town where they had AAA baseball at the time. When I came back here, it was AA baseball. They advanced to AAA, but I wouldn't go to the games. I would not. People would call me, "Hey, we got a box, or we got this, we got that." I'm like, I don't want to be around the game, because I felt like the game still owed me something. But then as I got older and I started coaching, I realized that the game is giving me exactly what I need to give it, and that's helping others. So I got into coaching. I started hanging around the game a lot more. I went to spring training, got to see some old friends and some old teammates and players that I played against that were still in the game, and it brought my energy back to the game of baseball. Well, transition into the opportunity to do radio and call games, it was a no-brainer for me, because it kept me close to the game that I love, that helped me become the person that I am, and kind of shaped me to this. And when I got a chance to start doing it, I felt like I was giving people a different perspective, because it's easy for play-by-play guys, because that's what they do. But being an analyst is something that people truly, truly want to hear from, because they probably did or did not play. They love the game, and they want to hear it from a player's perspective on so many different things. Because I try to simplify the game. It's really simple. People are going to talk about velo and spin rates and all that stuff. That's great. But you still got to throw it. You got to hit it. They've got to catch it. You've got to throw it, and they've got to catch it again. And it still revolves around 27 outs. And if you can get to 27 outs and you have more runs when you get to that, or sometimes it goes a little longer, obviously extra innings, but it's really a simple baseball game, or a simple game that's being played. And I try to give it to you in the simplest form.
Very cool.
Yeah. I think it's kind of cool. I think that's good advice. I like that it's like a little simpler and more broken down, because some broadcasters are like, it's a little hard for people who are starting to, or like, oh, I know this, and they're like, his average it's like just all these random stats and all this complex stuff. It's cool that you tell a little more simply.
Yep.
That's a good way to break it down.
Appreciate that.
Easier for it. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thanks.
I got a question for you. For you. What made you decide that this is something that you wanted to do? Like you're sitting behind this microphone. You've got some great questions. You've been thinking this through. What made you decide that this is something that you were very interested in to want to have these types of conversations?
I mean, I love sports, even if it's not football. I love all sports. I mean, for all I care, I'll watch a women's volleyball game, even though it's not my favorite sport. I still love it. I love competitiveness of it. And I like just to hear the story of it all and the things that people go through and experience playing a fun game.
Love it. Great answer. Thank you for answering that for me, buddy.
You're welcome.
Yeah. He's also a super curious boy and I think he really enjoys people and getting to know people.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we kind of started going down this path, I was like, man, I'm willing to do the heavy lifting. You want to get in front of some people and do some talking? He's like, man, it sounds so much fun. I'll tell you, as a father, just doing something together, which is, I feel like, a very unique project. It's a cool bonding experience for us. He's learning how to prepare for an interview, thinking about an interview. He's learning about the back end, a little bit of editing and stuff like that. And then, as a dad, we get to sit in front of all of these people that have been very successful in their career and performed at the highest level. And you gave some advice and talked about the mental game and some of that. But each of these little conversations are like a little mini mentoring conversation. And so he gets to, it's like a blank check to ask the people who've performed at the highest level, like, what was your experience that put you in a position to perform and be at your best? And so the accumulation of those lessons, it's super exciting to build something with Dylan, but for him to also get, many diverse perspectives and to get those life lessons about what hard work looks like, how to overcome challenges, and what you need to do to perform your best.
No doubt. That's awesome. I think this is a great platform for that, and being able to get in front of people that, to your point, have had some success and understand that it's never, ever going to be rainbows and unicorns. It's always going to be some bumps in the roads that you're going to have to learn how to fight through and make some things happen. So you're already ahead of the game. And I appreciate this too, because my son, my middle son is 17 years old, and we tried to get him to do this before too, because he's so intelligent and he asked the right questions about certain things. And I'm like, hey, we need to do this. And he was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And I'm like, dude, you truly need to use your voice, because at some point in his life, I believe he's going to be an analyst. I believe he's going to be either an agent or a professional athlete, because he just got that mindset of it all. And this is the breeding ground for becoming that person that you truly want to be.
And lucky for me, I got him before, as you mentioned, all that testosterone kicked in and everything. So he still thinks I know everything.
He thinks you're cool right now, Dad. He thinks you're
he thinks I'm cool right now.
Yeah.
Most days. There's some days he's probably like, not too cool, Dad.
No doubt.
Want to keep us going?
Yeah, I just have one more little thing to add to that. I think what you're saying about it's not always like
rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah, I mean, where there's a rainbow, there's rain. I mean, it's all just, I think that's also another very intelligent thing to say. I mean, there's never always good.
Right.
I think in life, you need something bad to happen or to feel sad to feel joy.
Yeah.
I like that.
So,
I like that.
You're a wise little man.
Yeah.
so that's it's a good thing. All right. Oh, I kind of like this one. So, out of all the Longhorn players, who was the funniest person to talk to when cameras are off?
I mean, this could take a while, but I'm gonna go with the most recent conversation that I had, and it was with Arch Manning. And Arch Manning, obviously he's a great athlete, he's a Manning, and you see the personalities of his father. Obviously, Cooper is a hilarious guy when he does all of his skits and being a part of a bunch of different shows. The brothers, Peyton and Eli, they're hilarious on their show for Monday Night Football. And obviously the old man, the OG is Archie Manning. But Arch has something from every single one of them. And just sitting with him, having just general conversation, and his dry wit and quick wit is something that a lot of people don't get a chance to see, because when he gets in the microphone, he's just talking football. He's trying to do all this other stuff. But when he gets a chance to just be cool, he is pretty doggone funny. I'll share a story that we had at SEC Media Days. So I got a call, and because I had been working on this for a while, and they said, "Hey, come over to this building. Arch is here. We'll let you have a 5-minute interview with him." And I was like, "Awesome." So I get to the building. They're having a little lunch, and we're talking, and all of a sudden, he was like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to do this interview. Give me a word that I could use in the interview that will throw people off." And Michael Taft's in there, Anthony Hill Jr.'s in there, and one other person was in there. And the SID, John Bianco, shout out to John Bianco, but he's looking at me like, "Are you going to let this happen?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, I'm letting this happen, because this is just the moment." So he came up with this random word, and I'm not going to tell you the word. It wasn't a bad word or anything. It was just so random that if you listen to the interview that we had, you would be like, "Why did he say that?" You know, and it was just a word that he was thrown at by Michael Taft. Taft said, "Use this word in a sentence," and he used it, and it was outstanding. We just rolled with it. I just kept going in the conversation, but after it, he was cracking jokes with everybody. He was cracking jokes with the SEC media team. He was just a calm, cool, and collected kid that all he wants to do is play football, and he wants to make sure that everybody's having fun.
I think that's one of the things that makes him special and unique, is how composed and professional and
he's got a lot of training though.
Yeah, he's got a lot of training, but so kudos to those around him. But to take on all he took on last year with the high expectations and how he handled himself, I mean, fan of Texas or not, there's no way you can't root for that kid to be successful. It just feels like he just does stuff the right way. So it's great to get a little sneak peek under the hood and hear about how funny and laid back and calm, cool, collected he is.
No doubt.
Yeah. I was just thinking, me and my dad, he went to Oklahoma, and we're Oklahoma sports fans.
Hold up, man. What'd you say? Nah, just kidding. I know y'all are friends with Craig, so I know y'all got to be Oklahoma fans.
Oh, man, we love Craig. He's the best.
But, even though he didn't have the best year this year, I think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback this coming year. I think their team just kind of got off on a bad foot. Wasn't looking the best and just.
Well, I think that kind of goes back to what Mike was saying about resilience. We asked him about getting in a slump, and I mean, he didn't get off to the best start, but talk about being resilient and finishing strong. And he continued to improve every game, which, man, when you can watch somebody do that, I think that's so special. And I think, one of the things that probably for all fans is just a little bit frustrating about the big transfer portal era.
Yep.
And, what we love about college football is, watching a young buck come up and he's got a lot of talent, but it's going to make mistakes because he doesn't have experience, and watching him grow with the organization, grow within himself, and continue to hone his craft. And I think that's one of the things that's cool. But Arch has kind of planted his flag at Texas is, he's committed to the program. And so all those fans get this amazing opportunity to watch an extremely talented kid hone his craft and get better and better. And my expectation is he's going to come out on fire this year.
Yeah, that's a great call because that's something that I've after that first game against Ohio State, I came back and I said, the quarterback that we see today versus Ohio State, which was a slim loss, by the way, is not going to be the quarterback that you see at the end of the season. And for what he was able to achieve and coming in, everybody giving him the Heisman hype, which he didn't ask for. Everybody anointing him as this glory quarterback, which he didn't ask for, but it goes with the last name and that the lineage of the Mannings. But I always said the dude is talented, and what people truly need to see is him grow because he didn't have those regular reps that everybody thinks about. He's just somebody that learned how to do it at a very, very high level.
Yeah. Feels like the dead period when college football is over. You're like, when do we start talking about spring ball? Let's get where's August 1st happening? Let's get into camp. What are we doing? You want to keep rocking here?
Yeah, great. I like this one too. If you could go back in time and interview any Texas Longhorn, who would it be and why?
My pick would be Earl Campbell. And I've actually had an opportunity to interview Earl, but he's always my favorite because of the simple fact that he became a guy at the University of Texas in a time where guys that look like he and I were not always accepted here, and what he had to go through during his time at the University of Texas, not only getting in the University of Texas, being able to come from Tyler, Texas, come to the University of Texas and be able to plant his flag, so to speak, where he became Mr. Earl Campbell to so many people. He is one of the most generous people that you'd ever want to be around. He has a great family. His two sons are amazing young men and do a lot in this community. And for him to be able to have his name on the stadium or the field is something that if you would have told me that a long time ago before he was the Tyler Rose and Mr. Earl Campbell, it would have been something that people would have been like, nah, he's good, but we're not putting his name on the stadium. Well, not only that, he wins the Heisman Trophy and he excels at the position and becomes a great ambassador for the University of Texas.
What position was he?
Running back.
Now, Mike, do us a favor because Earl's a little bit before Dylan's time, just a touch. Can you describe Earl's style of play at the running back position and what he meant to I guess how that style impacted those Texas Longhorn teams?
Okay, Dylan, do you know what bulldozers look like? Have you ever seen a bulldozer?
Derrick Henry.
There you go. He was Derrick Henry before Derrick Henry with even more speed and more power. And he was playing in a time where there were tearaway jerseys. And they would
There are what jerseys?
tearaway. So if they grabbed you to try to tackle you, if you're strong enough to run through that and they're just holding on by the jersey would rip. Earl would go through 3 and 4 jerseys a game because he was that powerful of a running back. He was not only powerful, he was fast, he was strong, and he was the type of player that if you were on the defense, your first hit of him, you may think, all right, I got him. But the next time he comes through there, he's going to hurt your entire body for at least a week until you play your next game. And sometimes you probably don't want to go and play that next game because your body is in that much pain because he was that physical of a running back.
Haven't we watched Bo Jackson highlights before, Dylan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the very first of that breed of athlete who was bigger, faster, stronger, tougher, like impossible to take down. That was Earl Campbell. And
instead of more just like shifty and quick.
He just had so much power. It looked like there were times where it looked like he was playing a different game than everybody else on the field. He was so physically gifted and talented at the position. He was playing at a different speed with more speed and power.
So here's a perfect example. You know how most running backs nowadays run out of bounds? Earl never ran out of bounds. He wanted to punish you.
I've seen, who he also kind of reminds me of.
Who's that?
I mean, we don't know too much about him yet, but I was watching highlights of when he wasn't injured yet. Cam Scatterboo. I saw him score a touchdown. I saw him go out of his way to truck a guy just to truck him.
Yeah. Now imagine that Cam Scatterboo was almost twice the size and faster. Yeah. But that's a good example.
With some quads that are like ridiculously big.
But that's a good parallel because he was that much more physically gifted, but played with the same type of intensity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good parallel for very different running backs.
For the younger generation.
Yeah.
Because the older generation would have been like, what? Cam Scatterboo in the same sentence as Earl Campbell? No, sir.
Right. Yeah, we'll have to pull up some good highlight reel. All those breakaway jerseys and some of it. The interesting thing about him too, with all that power and speed, there was a real element of grace to the way that he ran.
Smooth.
That so smooth and effortless looking that you just had to imagine, what does it feel like to be in a body like that? Because that is so far away from anything that I could ever imagine my body doing. It was really beautiful to watch.
Yeah, he was very graceful and elite at what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dylan, we've had a good chunk of Mike's time and appreciate that on a Thursday night. You want to ask your last question?
Yeah. What's your best piece of advice for sports or life?
Well, let's go sports first, and then I'll give you life because they are kind of intertwined together. When I put my mind to do this, it was because I was fortunate enough to be in this position to be able to do radio because I had life experiences. Life experiences is something that you cannot take for granted. Whether it's with your family, with your friends, with your baseball team, your football team, or any team that you've ever been a part of. I always talk about the huddle. And the huddle is the only place where you don't see color, you don't see race, you don't see financial status. You see your brothers in arms every single day. I have a thread, a text thread of 10 guys that I played boys club, your age time, that I am still tight with to this day. We talk every single day, whether it's via text or we'll have a phone call together. And the one thing about that is something that I will never, ever, ever take for granted, because friendships, they come and go, but brotherhood is there forever. And my son was fortunate enough to play in a basketball Sweet 16 game just recently in high school. And all of those guys live in the Houston area. They all showed up, because if I'm ever in need, they will always show up. So the one thing that I will always tell people, just show up. It means more than you could ever imagine.
That's so true. If you have the opportunity, show up. Indeed, it means the world.
Exactly. You may not think it means anything, but trust me, it goes a long, long way with your friends.
I think it's also just a powerful message in the importance and the investment that you put into the people that you surround yourself.
Yep.
And knowing that you have to invest in those relationships and nurture them, because you need a brotherhood to make it through this life.
Yep.
And when one is up, another may be down, but or vice versa. And you need that solid crew around you to support you, to help you celebrate the wins and to lift you back up in the lows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's also great. Wow, you're getting great advice.
You're my man, Dylan.
Yeah.
You're my man, Dylan. I appreciate
And
y'all having
then-
me tonight, and I appreciate what you're doing. And just know this: practice makes perfect, and the more reps that you get, the better you're going to be at this. And by the time you're at this wise age, you're going to be so well versed in this thing, man. You're going to be doing this thing in your sleep. You're going to be ready to roll. So keep up the good work. Keep learning, keep watching, and keep investing in yourself, because it looks like your dad is definitely doing a great job of investing in you.
Yeah, he is.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Mike. We really appreciate it. Love all the thoughtful words and advice that you had for Dylan, and sharing the stories of your playing days and experience as a broadcaster. And really grateful for your time.
No problem.
Obviously, as well. So thank you very much. Hopefully we get to meet in person sometime soon with our buddy Craig.
No doubt. If you're a friend of Craig's, you're a friend of mine. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, but he's the best.
Yes,
all right.
he
Have
is.
a great night, sir.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
He's gone. He couldn't go all the way.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
We talking about practice.
You play to win the game.
Playoffs?
It's like taking poison, like rat poison.
It's the